Mage, I think I'm moving to the demon realm now. What do you think?
I mean, under new management.
Right? Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome to the season finale, or maybe series finale. We aren't 100% on Dragon Ball Daima, episode 20, titled Maximum! And there's a lot of maximum in this episode. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So this episode went hog on the animation, faux show. There are some really great moments in this fighting fighto stuff. But Mage, how are you doing? What was your general thoughts on this episode?
I feel like it was a satisfying conclusion to the series. I'm generally pretty damn happy with it. I'm looking forward to breaking it down with you.
Okay. So I mean, in the opening, what would you say, like 15 minutes? I mean, it is fighto, like hairs are flopping everywhere, muscles are pounding. I mean, it is definitely maximum animation at this point. We get, oh my god, we get so much good animation in this, and they go just all out. Goku, of course, hitting Super Saiyan 4, which, by the way, in this episode is confirmed to be Super Saiyan 4. It is not some Super Saiyan Beast, Super Saiyan Maximum, Super Saiyan Goku's the best because he's the main character. Whatever you want to call it, it is Super Saiyan 4. They have titled it. So I mean, so we get the opening moments. We get Goku just wailing on Goma, and we kind of knew how this was going to go. In my opinion, like, this was not surprising. Goku beats the crap out of Goma for like 15 minutes, and Goma keeps soaking damage and regenerating because of the third eye. Anything out of, like, at least the plot of this opening segment that you want to talk about? I know we can talk about some of the really great moments in the fight, but anything like in particular you want to talk about regarding this fight? I know I'm very bad at explaining things.
I can't. There's so much great moments. So much great moments. Such great English.
Yeah, right.
No, there's so many moments. It's hard to like pick where to start, like breaking it down at.
Yeah, I mean, so the first couple moments we get are your typical fighto, punch, kick energy. Like we get some of that. Goma then summons his staff, which is, I think, kind of the first moment where it kind of gets a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, he summons a staff, and then he uses that staff to kind of summon, like energy bubbles and stuff like that to kind of, projectile at Goku. And at this point, we do kind of get to a little bit more of the abstract fighting, where we have Goma maybe using a little bit more telekinesis. He's using that with some of the mountain ranges around, and he's using them to try to stab Goku. And I mean, I'm down for that. I am down for stuff that is different than just punching. Like Fighto does not have to just be punching. It can be telekinesis battles. It can be like energy battles, and I think they really hit like a lot of the main beats of a Dragon Ball fight in this opening 15 minutes. They definitely went with quality over quantity. Like, I'm glad they didn't make this last longer than it did. I think it was pretty much the perfect length for this fight not to get too stale. Any particular moments that really stick out to you? As I said, I kind of like some of the the telekinesis parts of it that were made a little bit different.
No, I really enjoyed those as well. Just Kakarot having to do his dodging as he's pushing the assault constantly on Goma, waiting for Piccolo to come in and do the thing.
Well, go ahead.
By the end of the fight, this first 15 minutes, we're just like, here at my place, we're yelling at Piccolo to go ahead and do the thing because Goku can't keep going much longer.
Yeah, but I kind of get it, because I was watching thinking that exact same thing throughout this whole fight. But there was never really a moment I felt until Piccolo did go for it. There was never really a moment where Goma felt like he was like on the ropes. So yeah, so towards the end of this fight, and I don't want to discount this fight at all. I'm not trying to like breeze over it, but at the same time, it's just kind of awesome fighto, you know, like there's some energy balls with little green lasers that kind of do that was really interesting. I thought there were several moments where Goma used more magic based attacks rather than just energy, which I thought was great. But yeah, then we get to the moment where they do the thing, like they do the ball, the big death ball versus the Kamehameha, and then I apologize. I am really my throat is scratchy all of a sudden. So we have the big moment. Goku charges up that Kamehameha. Goma has that death ball. And then we see, I thought this was amazingly epic. The Kamehameha where he basically blows right through Goma, goes right into the ceiling of the demon realm. Or I'm sorry, the first demon realm, through the second, which was awesome, and then right through the third. And I mean, so
just
it is one of those moments that like you will definitely live up to Dragon Ball standards as one of the most epic moments. For me, it's probably right up there in like the top 5, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's a new feat of strength.
Yep. But honestly, and I'm glad that we got an explainer on how the demon realm works. Like remember several episodes ago, I talked about how I was glad they showed us that diagram that showed us how the demon realm was built, because if I did not have that, I would have been very confused by this. I'm not gonna lie. I go by maps. I don't go by like descriptors. So yeah. So I mean, amazing feat right there. Goma gets this big gaping hole in the center. And everybody's in shock, of course. What are your thoughts on adult Super Saiyan 4 in this? Like, I mean, I know we've seen Kid Super Saiyan 4. What are your thoughts on adult Super Saiyan 4?
I mean, I like Toriyama's take on the design. I like the magenta hair. The big oversized fists, kind of, very primate-ish, going back to that great ape kind of origin for the form, though that's been removed now. But it opens a big can of worms.
I mean,
Because in
there's more to this that opens a lot of can of worms that we'll get into in here in a little bit. I do want to talk a little bit about it.
But visually, it's satisfying. But it's one of many can of worm opening things during this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, then Piccolo finally jumps in. He gets his moment and he fails, which I knew he was going to fail. There was no way that Piccolo was going to be able to hit the 3 times in the back. Like when they advertise it like that, it's not written by Toriyama. Toriyama is going to come at you with a gag ending if he can. And we got it. We got it here. We got our gag ending here. So Goma heals. Goma becomes even more powerful than before. As I said, Piccolo fails. We got everybody kind of, Goma's powering up and doing this thing, and we get Majin Ku, who hits him in the back of the head 3 times with the book. And I don't know why I didn't see this coming. Because they've been building Ku up as like that unlikely hero character. They really have. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the end of Goma? Well, the end of Ultra Goma, whatever you want to call him.
Having it go out with a gag is just pure Toriyama, and just such a great way to end a great fight. You know, it's a common old trope that if you know the plan, that the plan's got to fail because it's not fun to see something play out the way you expect it to. It's fun to be
Yeah.
surprised and watch the characters deal with the challenge that comes up when the plan fails.
I am still
And
sad that Piccolo didn't get to do the thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Piccolo never gets to do the thing.
he has not done the thing since I think Raditz. Like, I mean, I know he's had fights and stuff, but like doing like the important thing, right? Like it's been
Right.
Raditz. I think Raditz was the last. I mean, I'm trying to think like Frieza. Yeah, he held off Frieza for a while. He fought Cell, but utterly failed. You didn't really do much in Boo. I don't think so. It's like I think really Raditz is like maybe saving Gohan in the Saiyan saga. Maybe would be an example of him doing the thing. But yeah, you know, I was kind of sad. And when he asked Piccolo to do it, I knew it was going to be a failure. Unfortunately, I want Piccolo to get some shine. And if we do a season discussion on Daima, I've got a lot to talk about with the Namekians. I really do, and Piccolo, obviously. So yeah. So Third Eye comes out, rolls in front of Glorio. Glorio steps on it, and it shatters into fairy dust. I all we needed right there was like a little like squeak noise, like squeak squeak. You know, like him stepping on it. You know, like maybe that'll be in the dub. Maybe they'll add that in the dub because they know us Americans love that stupid shit. Like he stepped on it, it glitters away, and that's it. That's the end of the Third Eye, or is it?
Dun dun dun.
So yeah, so that's kind of it. I mean, at that point, Goma is defeated, and he goes out with a gag. The Demon Realm, kind of like all of the majestic magic fades away, and everybody's just kind of like, "Oh, it's over." Like, did you not get that sense? Like, like everybody got like the happy, kind of like, "Oh, okay, it's over." I do love Majin Ku's like, "What? I can finish things." Like, I love that line. I was like, "Uh-oh. I think something's gonna happen with Majin Ku here." So, I don't know. Any thoughts on kind of like the end of any of that? I don't know.
No, just satisfying stuff. Just they've got to like wrap things up in a pretty short amount of time.
They do. What do you think about Arinsu in this episode? I'm still hung up on Arinsu's face turn, to use a wrestling term. I know she said, "Oh, my goals still have not changed," but obviously the character has changed. It
Mm-hmm.
this is and again, if we do a discussion, like an actual season discussion of Daima, I really am let down by what they did with Arinsu. I really am. They really, I feel like they dropped the ball big time on her.
Not
You
every
know?
villain needs the redemption arc.
No. And I mean, not all of them did. I mean, technically, Goma and Degasu didn't get it, but
No, they got a
there were
sweet ass prison.
yeah, but there were multiple villains in this. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
Arinsu, Degasu, Goma. So I mean, there were multiple parties at play here, and I feel like, yeah, like okay, Degasu and Goma, you didn't have a redemption arc for really, but Arinsu's like honestly, I was more excited about Arinsu's villainy than anything else. So again, I really look forward if we do a season breakdown, and maybe just do like a live stream or something where we just talk about it, as long as we want. But yeah, I was really let down by that. Anything else before we move on?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. So then we get the Mafuba. That's what I'm going to call it. I know it wasn't green, but they bring in like this jar and they set it down and they pull the top off, and something that looks starkingly similar. It's more of a blue instead of a green, and it doesn't require the little paper. It looks and it treated it just like the Mafuba. So I'm going to say it's some kind of version, like a demon realm version of the Mafuba, even though the Mafuba is still the evil containment wave. Or what is it? The devil? No, it's the evil containment wave.
Yes, sir.
So don't call me sir. Man, you freak me out. But yeah. So okay. So yeah, it was nice to see that. And I called it right there. They didn't call it the Mafuba that I could tell while I was watching. I didn't see them say evil containment wave or Mafuba.
No.
But still. So after so our villains are taken care of. So we need a new Supreme Demon King. And even Shin says, "Oh, it should be you, Arinsu." And I'm like, no, no. What are we talking? Like, she has always said that she wants a evil, terrible demon realm. Even worse than what Goma and my boy Deborah had. By the way, I kept that here just so when I said his name finally, I could show him. But it turns out that the person who becomes the Supreme Demon King is the person who beat the previous Demon King, which would be our boy Majin Ku. So again, another Toriyama riff on, and I mean, we know that Ku is smart. We know that, from all they've been building up to this, that he's smart. He says he's a good judge of character. Okay. So again, this is that redemption where it's like he tells Arinsu that she has a good heart. And I'm like, no, like, I don't feel like that was ever even hinted at, that she had any remorse for anything she was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
And so, okay, so he makes Arinsu a minister or whatever. He makes Pansy's dad a minister of the third demon realm, or first minister of the demon realm. He makes Glorio a minister. Okay, so he's passing out positions. So we have voted in our Supreme Demon King, and now he is handing out his constituents, their assignments. I don't hate this ending. I don't necessarily love it. I don't know what I was expecting. And don't get me wrong, I don't know what I was expecting, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I'm glad it ended on a gag like this, because in honor of Toriyama. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, okay, sure, whatever. I think Hibis wants the position, and Ku completely ignores him, which is absolutely hilarious. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved every second of that gag.
So yeah, I mean, from zero to Supreme Demon King is Majin Ku. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I enjoyed that development, actually. I don't know. I feel like Toriyama's always loved subverting expectations, and this gag character becoming the Supreme Demon King, I feel like it's a great turn.
And again, I don't hate it. As I said, I literally just stopped watching the episode right before we came on here. I have not had a chance to sit with it and maybe watch it again or anything like that. So, and as I said, I'm probably in the minority here, where I just say, and as I said, I don't even hate it. Like, I can't even say it. Like, I just was like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting something, I don't know, a little different, maybe. Who knows? I'm probably wrong. So yeah, so everything's wrapped up. Our heroes are getting ready to head back to the demon realm. So we get to one of the moments of contention for me in this episode, and it's where Goku says that he trained to get Super Saiyan 4. So it was implied in one of the previous episodes recently that Goku, that like the reason why Goku went Super Saiyan 4 was because of Neva's intervention, and he used some kind of magic. So Super Saiyan 4 was more magic based rather than like training and all that other stuff. I take umbrage with that. I don't. So that means that Goku had this in his back pocket the whole time. I mean, I know he said, "Oh, I didn't even know if it was going to work," but he knew it existed. He knew it was there because he had been trying it or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't, and I feel like this is
completely contradicts GT.
Well, which we kind of figured that. I'm not even worried about that. But it's just like, it's another thing where Goku's like, oh yeah, I got stronger than Vegeta just by training. I got the next transformation just by training. It feels like even more of an ass pull than the Neva, like, intervening thing. You know what I mean? So what did Neva do? Did he just rejuvenate him so he could transform? What did he supercharge?
Jumpstart it?
Yeah, did he
Jumpstart the transformation? Maybe.
I don't know, but it really the way that they did that doesn't sit well with me at all.
I didn't like that aspect of the episode.
Yeah, and it's not because Goku surpassed Vegeta. That's not it. Like, I use that as the example, but I'm like, that's not it. But I would have been perfectly fine if like Neva's the one who cued that transformation. You know what I mean? Like, he's the one who triggered it, and then he discovered there's a new transformation. But it seems like he's trained and known about another transformation at this point. It's just like, well, wait a minute. Like, I get it. You're kind of getting rid of GT. Like, it's kind of the writing's on the wall with GT. GT is what it is. But this was really a moment for me where I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know. What do you have any other thoughts on that part? That kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, and just it doesn't sit well with me either. It's like, but it doesn't like completely ruin the episode for me or anything.
We also get Vegeta doing the Super Saiyan bargain sale line again. I love that line. He did have the line in there. He's like, "Oh, it's a bargain sale of Super Saiyan transformations." I'm like, haha, more Super Saiyan bargain sales.
That was good.
All right, so are you ready for my next point of contention?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, man. I'm ruining it. So we then go to Piccolo, Neva, and Dende, and they're talking about, and this doesn't break the episode. This doesn't even break canon for me at this point. But so they're talking about, this is, I really wish we got more of these three throughout the series. I wanted more Namekian lore in this.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't get it, and that's fine. That's where we're at. But Neva asks Piccolo and Dende to stay, or he said, would you consider staying, or something like that? And they both say no. We've got, Dende says no. I've got work to do on Earth, and Piccolo's just like, yeah, me too. I've got to go sit by waterfalls or something. Or I got to float by waterfalls. But then he says, okay. He says, well, what do you think about the rest of the, or either Neva suggested or Dende suggested about reaching out to the other Namekians in Universe 7, saying, would they like to live here? So here's my point of contention here is, in the manga, in the Moro arc, we go back to New Namek. Now, truth be told, that just because Neva opened the doors up to some, all the Namekians, that does not mean all of them went. So this might, those might be leftover Namekians. Maybe none of them went. Maybe some of them, maybe all of them said, no, we're going to stay where we're at. We're trying to build a home here. So that's possible. I am completely theory crafting here at this point. But the point is like, you've kind of opened the window there for like, okay, either all, none, or some of the Namekians are going to go back to the demon world. And we didn't see any of it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and as I said, it contradicts kind of what's going on in the Moro arc. And I do want the Moro arc in anime. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
want the Moro arc. I like the Moro arc. I thought it was a great arc. It had its ups and downs, but it was a great arc. I thought it was better than the Granola arc. But if we watch this and then we watch the Moro arc, we're going to get a little bit of a conflict here unless they mention something. Like I know they didn't mention in the manga, but maybe they mentioned something in maybe the anime that says, oh, well, you know, like, oh, I see all of you guys decided to stay after Neva's offer. Now, maybe they will have that line in there and I will be completely shut up and satisfied. But this is the problem when you like jump around in the timeline and you're doing prequels and sequels, prequel sequels and all this other stuff. So I don't know. Am I just being a little like the most here or
A little bit, but it also like I get what you're saying. It does open up like this weird ambiguity that you don't need to necessarily open up for things moving forward because we know that New Planet Namek is a thing
and
that
there's at
has to
least
be
some
there in the future.
Namekians left there.
Yeah.
So we know not all of them went back to the demon realm. Yeah, I would be interested. I would be interested to see what happens when they visit New Namek in the Moro arc, if that ever comes to anime, which I hope it does. So that's kind of my other moment of contention. As I said, it didn't break the season or even the episode for me, but I was kind of like, okay. So we get our typical ending. Bye everyone. Bye. You know, you got Pansy there waving Vegeta's arm. I caught that right off the bat. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Like if I could make any thumbnail I want, it would be that picture of Pansy waving Vegeta's arm, but you know, it's not eye-catching enough. So and so that's it. That would be the end of the episode. We do have a post-credit scenario. I don't even want to call it a scene, like a scenario where they are heading back and they head to the stop where all the bugs, you know, they picked up all the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
First off, they never use the fusion bugs. Like, how annoying is that? It's a bit annoying. You know what I mean? Like
They the fusion bugs are a red herring, making us think we're going to see some sort of fusion out of somebody during the series, and then no fusions whatsoever.
not at all. And it would have been a new version. I feel like it would have been a new version of a fusion. And that's Toriyama again. Like, I know Toriyama did not like to rely on fusions. Like, a lot of the fusions, like the Vegito and Super, you know, Vegito and Super was not Toriyama's idea at all. It was actually Shueisha's idea. They wanted to put Vegito in Super. Which again, it's one of my favorite moments in all of Super is the Vegito, fight with Zamasu. Fuse Zamasu. But anyway, so anyway, we get we go back to this place. There's a bunch of bugs, there's of course, Bulma does the normal thing. Ew, bugs, disgusting. But then they're like, oh no, this is a butte bug. Makes your skin look 10 years younger. Oh, then of course Bulma's interested, right?
Buys all of them.
Yeah, she buys all of them. Because I do hate sometimes how far they push her in the vein department. You know what I mean? Like, I get wanting to look young and youthful, but they kind of really push that on her. And it's like, I think sometimes it's a bit much. In this episode, the first thing she's doing when they're flying is like she's checking for wrinkles. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, I don't see Bulma as being that vain. You know what I mean? Like,
it does a disservice to the other aspects of her character, which are bravery and her genius level IQ.
Yeah, and with a genius level IQ, like, look, I don't think like she's going to care that much. She's going to know that she's going to age. She may not like it, but she's not. Anyway, that's a whole nother rant for another day. But I agree with you. I think it's a disservice to her character, and I get it. They're using it for a gag most times. Okay. Then we get the big reveal in this that there is a old dusty jar on the back shelf and it's got 2 other evil third eyes in it.
Not just one, but 2.
2. There, and then of course she says, "Oh yeah, somebody bought the third one. Like there used to be 3, but somebody bought the third one like years ago." What? What? Like, it's. Do you think they bought him and just smushed him right then and there?
I certainly hope so.
And I love how this just, again, this is Toriyama subverting expectations, which again I always appreciate. But yeah, so it's just this little shopkeeper lady who's, been around a minute, and she has the other 2 eyes. Okay.
Great stuff.
I'm like, I don't know what to, and that was a funny gag to me, where it's like, okay, like really, like there's 2, okay, all right, yeah. So all in all, what do you think about that? Like, I mean, anything else to add about that, like post credit scene, which was more of a post credit part?
No, I think we hit all the high notes of it. Just good subversion of expectations.
Yeah. All right, it's time to mark it, my friend. I'm going to let you go first. What did you think of this episode?
I came in wanting to give it a 9, but after kind of going over some of the gripes with you, I'm going to bump that down to an 8. But still a solid finale. Just, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else to expect from it. So
I'm also going to give it an 8. I don't think it was as good as last week's episode, but I do like the animation in this was just way above par for a lot of things. Some of the gags worked for me. Some of the plot hole things kind of bugged me a little bit, but I don't think it's going to break the whole thing for me. I'm trying to be very generous because, again, I see this show as Toriyama's swan song to Dragon Ball. I think when he was making this, I think he knew his time was coming to an end. And that is why we see so much Toriyama-isms in this show. For better, for worse. Don't get me wrong. Toriyama is not perfect. I am one of those people that will sit there and say, look, there's a couple things that Toriyama, like some of his cliches that he does, that are just awful sometimes for me. It doesn't work for me. But I'm glad that Toriyama got this opportunity to make the swan song he wanted to make for Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball essentially is his creation, his baby. And yes, have the fans and the producers and the corporate people, have they all kind of taken pieces of it from him, in over the years to make it what it is? Yes. But I feel like this is the closest thing we will get to Toriyama making a pure Dragon Ball product that he wanted to make before his passing. And for that, I am forever grateful. I can, as I said, watching this week to week is one thing. I hope to go back and watch it again one day. Depending on if I keep up the Crunchyroll subscription, or if I just know when it comes out on Blu-ray, maybe I'll buy it and watch it. I'm hoping a second watch through will, maybe change my mind on some of those little things that bugged me. And I'm just like, no, you know what? That's like the things in this episode, like, I mean, like, that's not that big of a deal. Actually, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, while I'm watching by myself is one thing, but then maybe after going back and watching it again is like, no, you know what? That's not that big of a deal, because I see the whole picture, now. But I'm very glad we got this before Toriyama's passing. I wish he would have been able to see this before his passing. But everybody's death is untimely. Nobody's death is when we want it to be. And so I don't know. Godspeed, Toriyama. But I am very thankful for this product that you have put out and that I have been watching, for me, since the late 90s. I know people have been watching it since way before that, especially when it first came out in the 80s. you know, Toriyama has given us something that we have grown up with, that has been integral in a lot of our lives. And truth be told, I don't watch a lot of anime. I can't get on board with a lot of anime. Dragon Ball is the one anime I can get on board with and watch. I love it. You know, people tell me about all these other animes that are great, and I try watching them, and I'm just like, I can't get into it. I give it a couple episodes, and I'm like, I can't. For some reason, Dragon Ball just hits that spot for me. So, yeah. With all that being said, Mage, what you have any final thoughts about Daima before we wrap it up? I mean, we can talk more about this if we do like a season discussion.
I feel like we should do one of those because it'd be nice to just have a good chunk of time to talk about how nice it was to see a product that he got to make with minimal editorial meddling.
Editorial meddling. That's what I was looking for earlier.
Yeah, and they did that to him. They stifled the man so much during his career, and just so I also tried to just appreciate the Toriyama moments and take them for what they were, because we won't get any more, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And the same as you know, I feel like his work enriched the lives of so many people, and grateful to have been one of them.
Yep. All right. Well, Mage, I think that's it. I think we can wrap this up until we decide, until we do our Dragon Ball discussion, or Dragon Ball Daima discussion. So with all that being said, everybody, thank you very much for joining us here today. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to NerdTube. Please leave your comments down below. Let us know what you thought about this episode, this season, this show, everything. We want to hear it all. Are we right? Are we wrong? Was I being too rough on it? Was Mage being too generous with it? Is this the worst thing you've ever seen in your life? And you can't believe it's Toriyama, but here's the thing. It is very Toriyama. But with that, everyone, we will catch you guys in the next one. Catch you later.